Yeah.
That's some good silence.
That is some pretty good silence. Shall we start?
That's all going to get edited out.
But it might do. Might not. Depends.
When we give it to the editing monkeys.
We give it to the editing, the highly paid editing team that we have. Hello, my name's Richard. And don't.
My name's Colin.
And this is We're Not Wizards. This is episode number...
something.
It's a special anniversary birthday, special loving birthday special.
Yes!
Because we've been doing this for 2 years.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it feels like this is what, my sixth time
It's
doing
no,
it.
it's not. It's even more than that. It's like almost your 8th or 9th time. It's like you've become like a veteran. Yeah, you know, back in the day, back on the 13th of February 2016, we sat in a room.
We were so young then.
We were so young. We were so quiet. We had such a bad microphone. We didn't know what gain was. We had no idea how to edit. We didn't have music.
No.
We didn't.
Some
Mad
say
times.
they were better days.
Some say there were simpler days for a more purer kind of folk. So hello, thank you for joining us. The reason why we do this is quite simply
There's far too many people talking about board games these days.
far too many. There's a plethora. You can't move for board game chat. It's ridiculous. So the other reason that we do this is because we want to be part of that cacophony.
Do we?
No.
No.
We want to forge our own path.
We go our own way.
We do go our own way. This isn't the 2018 new way of doing things, by the way. Yeah, but thank you for joining us, for everybody who's listening, for everybody who's been joining us continually over the last couple of years, really. Because we have gone from nowhere to being somewhere, which is good. You know, it's like driving at the shops and then ending up at a nice beach and having an ice cream.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
That's a good way of putting it.
That is a good way of putting it. So tonight we're going to talk about some cardboard. Myself and me Colin is going to be talking about the cardboard, basically.
And some resin models.
Some resin models as well. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, sir. Oh, sir. Me, sir. You, sir. We've been playing quite regularly, haven't we? Since the kind of the timetable, every couple of weeks we've managed to get a game of something kind of happening,
yeah.
which has been pretty good. So quite recent.
Unusual.
It is unusual, and we'll come to that later on in questions. But we have had a couple of games we've managed to get to the table, either together or separately, doing separate things. Now that we're living separate lives. First one was Godfather.
Yep.
By Cool Mini or Not, which is designed by...
I completely got mixed up with another game. When we were talking about
It's
it.
designed by Eric Lang, who is, you know, just seems to kind of... I'll have an idea for the game, and then he kind of knocks
I
it out
had
of the
it
park.
confused with a Mafia game that the
Did you?
Dice Tower lads did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is completely different.
A completely different game. It's not the same game at all. It's a completely different game. I think this is the first game we kind of got to the table, and then we got to the table very, very quickly again after getting it to the table the first time that we played it.
So very rare for us to actually play a game twice. It's amazing.
Yeah, it depends on the game, because we'll get around to questions about that as well. There's all questions. There's a whole. It's almost like Judgment Day at the end of this podcast when the questions come up, and you'll see why. Because I've read over the questions, and oh my goodness. How would you describe The Godfather? Not the film, obviously.
Not the film, the board game.
Yeah, the board game. What would you say it's like? If you were kind of sticking it in a pigeonhole.
Do I have to pigeonhole it and say it's very much like a Naver game, or
just a genre, or you can pigeonhole
it's worker placement.
It is worker placement.
It's fairly similar to, well, it's nothing like, so that's not a good comparison at all. But worker placement idea would be a Naver game which is really popular of that type would be
Viticulture.
I was going to say Lords of Waterdeep.
Yes, yes.
D&D game.
And essentially, for those who are going, well, what is worker placement? Worker placement game is basically you will have a physical manifestation of one of your characters, be that a meeple or a little resin model, like they do in The Godfather, and you place it in a space, and by placing in a particular space, it gives you an action.
Yep.
So in the likes of Viticulture, it allows you to maybe plant a field. In the likes of Lord of Waterdeep, it maybe allows you to have more gold. But basically, that's the premise of a kind of a worker placement game. There's also a bit of area control in The Godfather as well, and then the fact that once you, depending on where your worker placement is, you're allowed. It gives you certain bonuses as rounds kind of continue.
The map's all broken up into areas.
Yes.
So that means you get to control that particular area if you have enough people in that area.
Yeah, so you've got the likes of Wall Street. You've got Brooklyn.
Yep.
You get a and a who and a woo and a wah, and I'm walking here. And you don't need to do accents and stuff like that as well.
No.
We didn't do accents at all, I'm surprised.
Oh, we did a few.
Did we do a couple?
Corleone impressions, but that was about
yeah, we didn't really kind of get into
it. We
it.
didn't go hard style.
We didn't go kind of hard style.
Yeah.
I'm talking here. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? We're gonna go to the mattresses on this one. What? What?
Laughing. You think I'm funny?
It's not. That's Goodfellas. That's what I was doing. I was doing Joe Pesci. What am I, some kind of Claudio? What am I here to make you laugh? And that was it. That was where it was, and I was like, that was at the end of the game anyway. But it's kind of right. Okay, The Godfather's a well-loved film.
Yep.
Do you think that a game, the board game, managed to capture anything to do with The Godfather, or do you think that the theme was maybe there to add the kind of maybe the salt to the soup, the little bit of seasoning to make everything kind of taste better?
I would say
yes.
It's not very well tied into The Godfather. That it isn't taking scenes from The Godfather and making a bit about the game.
Yes.
It's using the artwork and the idea of mafia controlling the city.
Yes.
And taking that as the idea. It's not really taking much from the movie, I didn't personally feel.
No, I mean, in terms of the story behind it is basically you are one of 5 families. Yeah. And you are basically, you see it's the end of the Corleone Empire coming to an end, and you're basically stepping in to try and get a bigger slice of that pie. So it's that kind of that kind of thing. But I wouldn't say it's exactly.
But I didn't realise it was so. It's set when the whole family gets gunned down on the wedding steps.
Yeah, pretty much. But at the same time, what it does in terms of representation, in terms of the artwork. In terms of the production values, I mean, let's touch on the production values. I was really impressed with the production values when I first opened the box. The little tins that you get where you put your money, the little resin markers, the little kind of horse's head first player token, the police car, the other little figures—they're all relatively kind of well done. What do you think of the artwork?
I like the artwork of the game. It's not super fancy.
No.
It's very, this is it, if you know what I mean.
I think it's Karl Kapinski or something like that. I need to double check, but he's well known for doing artwork for the Tour de France. Kind of thing. He's very famous for doing that kind of line.
Famous illustrator.
Yeah. I'm going to double check it because I don't want to get the boy's name wrong. Because that'd be nothing. There'd be nothing worse than kind of doing that. But I guess
Tour de France connections. He'd hunt us down.
Yeah, I know. I guess right. Okay. Do you know what my only bugbear with that whole art was when you're looking through the manual. The level of art that you had.
Oh, the manual's gorgeous.
The manual's absolutely stunning.
Tons of really invoking images of the film and of the different sort of gangs and things that it wants in the game.
But on the other side of it, the artwork within the cards itself, the back of the cards, was just the one picture. It was just the one picture of the boss.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a bit of a missed. I thought it was maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity, especially with. It was
a shame. It was more a shame with the mission cards.
Yes, I know, because
so something we've not talked about yet, but
yeah.
But the there's 4 different styles of mission card, and all of them, they just had the one style of artwork on each of them, which I felt was a wee bit. That's a. Each one of them could have had a different image, but they didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit. I thought it was just a little bit of a. Karl. It is Karl Kopinski. I was right. But he does a lot. Yeah, I felt like on the mission cards it was kind of like you had one mission after another. You had like grab the cannoli. You had like car bomb, which we'll go into another time. But you had like shakedown and stuff like that. Yeah. But it was the picture of. It was a picture of Don Corleone in every single card, and I thought, you've got this fantastic artist. Why haven't you taken some of the characters that were in the rule book? Because he's got pages and pages of the characters in the rule book, and that was the only thing that I kind of think. It didn't detract from the game.
They were used on the ally cards.
Yes, they were used.
We'll talk about in a bit.
Yes, they were used very, very well on the ally cards. In terms of how you play the game, basically the game is you will get a group of you'll be running a family. You'll be running a family that will have thugs. You'll have a group, 2 or 3 thugs depending on the number of players that you have. Yep. You also have kind of family members. Mm-hmm. They've got different bases. The thugs have square bases. The family members have round bases. Yep. And that defines where you can actually place a character. Yeah. The thugs, they can go you've got little locations. So you've got betting shops, you've got jewelers, you've got, and these get added on at the beginning of a new act. You get another location.
You add a new tile to the board.
You get a new location that you can go to. A thug will go in and he'll shake down the front of a store. So they'll get, there's things you can collect. You can either collect money, or you can collect, illegal goods like guns or blood money or drugs or alcohol, and that those in turn allow you to complete these mission cards, which get you money but also might give you an additional an ability or an action. The family members, what they do is they straddle kind of entire areas. They basically work on the borders between different geographical areas, and they allow you to shake down basically the back of the shop.
Yep.
And you might usually you'll get the same thing. But what I'll do is I'll allow you to collect multiple resources from multiple places, which is kind of cool because you can collect them. The interesting thing about it is you get one action. When your turn comes round, you get one action. So you can either place somebody, you can either complete a mission, you can call in an ally. It leads to a little bit of AP.
There was quite a bit of it.
It was. I think
you've only got the one choice.
Yes.
And even though you've only got that one choice, it as soon as you've played all of your pieces, so once you've played all your family members, all your thugs, that's you out of the round.
Yeah.
So you might have been able to complete a mission.
Yes.
But if you haven't done that mission and you place down your last piece,
yes,
you can't then, all right, I'll do this mission.
Yeah, that happened to Andy. That happened to Andy. Andy played his thing and then went, okay, my next, and he says, no, you can't play now. And it's like,
yeah,
because you're essentially that's your finish.
You might have won because of that.
Yeah, you've got nobody spare. So that you say shaking your hand like that, but then you move on to area control. So once everybody's kind of laid down their people taking their actions, then it's a decision on who actually controls the area, and that's based on the number of people that are in the particular area.
Yeah.
They get like an additional. There's like a control marker that goes into each area, and then what happens is the next time you play through, if a thug from another family places their thug with and goes and shakes down an establishment, you get the benefit. You
get the same action that they get to do.
Yeah, you get which is interesting, which means that area control is a very
It's more important than it seems when you're first sitting down with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tied in with that, you've then got to move into being able to buy an ally card. Now, one of the things we didn't mention, or we touched briefly, ally cards are basically an additional action that you can do, and they can allow you to do certain things. They can allow you to, they'll either allow you to directly just play a card and get extra money. So you got like the capo that allowed you to collect $5. Yep. You've got the evidence officer that allowed you to basically, if you, depending on the number of areas that you controlled, you're allowed to collect illegal goods from each of those areas, basically as, 3 from each or something like that. So it was a good kind of bonus. You had ones like the mayor.
The mayor? Which we didn't see in our game.
We didn't see in the second game. We certainly saw it in the first game. And that was one of the cards which some of it, well, at the time when we first played it, we felt was potentially a little bit borderline OP.
We did when we played it the first time, yeah.
Yes. Didn't crop up the second time. I don't know.
I think, again, in the game we just played, I got the Union boss.
Yes.
And he seemed quite powerful as well.
Yeah. How you get allies, though, it's an auction. Mm-hmm. During the game, the idea of the game is to collect as much money as possible. We touched on these kind of metallic suitcases that you have. Yes, you've got like a little beautiful looking tins. You open up the tins and you've got an option during your shot to stick money in the tin. You stick the money in the tin, then that money is yours to keep.
Yep.
At the end of the ally, when they come to the allies part, you're basically you're asking, you're kind of you're bidding money to say that you're going to bribe this person.
Yep.
And you get a choice of which allies that you get.
Well, it goes. There's a number of ally cards equal to players -1, so it makes it a competition.
Yes.
And if you win the blind auction, you put down enough money to win it.
Yeah.
That means you get first choice. Doesn't mean you get more than one card. Just gives you first choice.
Yeah, and if you don't bid anything at all, you can't just sit there and hedge your bets, because if you don't bid anything at all,
you have to bid at least $1 due to.
If you don't bid $1 due, you get nothing.
Exactly.
You get out of here. That's
Australian. To you and Andy.
That happened to me and Andy because we bid. I think because pretty much I was down to. I think I had a $5. I had $5. I didn't want to go in and bid a $5 because that would have lent me nothing to put into my next.
You would have been
level.
Second.
No, I would not have been second. I potentially would have been second if it hadn't been for a certain getting car bombed kind of twice.
Almost like someone shouldn't have killed my man earlier.
Okay, somebody likes to bear a grudge. That's okay, fair enough. Okay, I'll give you that. Cutting to the chase. Do you like the game?
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
You really enjoyed it?
I really enjoyed it. I think it
More
was
viticulture.
Viticulture's like one of my children kind of thing. I really like I really like viticulture. I really like viticulture. There's a special place, I think, for the way that viticulture grabbed me when I played it. But The Godfather, in a similar vein, it was very much like, I get this. It was very much within about the first 2 or 3 rounds of us, the first 2 or 3 actions. It was like, because we played it with Simon Harper the first time.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was just 3 of us playing. And when we played it, we kind of like went, oh, we get this. We know how this. We know how this works. And I don't think there was any kind of ambiguity with the rules. It was
the thing with that is working out how to get as many actions as you can.
Yes.
And that's
not rushing in and having 3 people and placing your 3 people kind of straight away.
There's things you desperately need to do. So sometimes you have to put your character down. But if you can get away with not putting your character down. And as I did in the game that we just played, there was a turn that I managed to be able to, everyone else had put all their pieces down. I still had 3 pieces.
You still had 3 pieces because you were completing you had, I think by that time, you had an ally.
Yep.
You had a couple of missions. You had managed to get a reasonable amount of resources.
Yeah.
Which was a good thing to do, because at the end of every act, at the end of every round, you have to discard down to
down to a hard,
a hard 5.
Yeah. 5 and then goes up to 6.
Yeah. But the thing is, that includes all your ally cards. That includes all your resource cards. That includes all your money.
Which
So you're trying.
I was getting triggered by Scotty. It's like, Scotty, what's in your hand and what's not in your hand?
Scotty was like, had set 3 or 4 separate piles. And it's like, no, that's my money. That's the money I'm going to put in my case. It's like, don't be telling us things like that you've actually got money to do. In short, yes, I like The Godfather. I'll definitely be playing it again.
No, we need to give it another wee game.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. It's cutthroaty.
Yes, it is.
It's not terribly cutthroaty though, which is nice.
Yeah, there was the cut. As I say,
I was dishing it more than I got it. So
well, I think there was the car bomb, which allows you to basically clear out an entire area.
Yeah,
that was
and the family members touching the area. That's what makes it so wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, and of course, at any time,
unless I read that completely wrong.
Anytime somebody dies, they end up in the Hudson River. That's what happens.
The Hudson River.
Dollary dues. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so we would play it again. We'll definitely will be playing it again. That's Godfather Simon Games. Simon Games. Eric Lang designed it.
Excellent.
Fair play, mate. Nice one.
No, it's a good fun game.
The other game that we played was Dinosaur Island. Well, we started playing it one night. Rules. We learned the rules, and then I went and followed up with a couple of games with the Kiddywinkles afterwards. Dinosaur Island, for those who weren't aware, was a Kickstarter behemoth that was released through Pandasaurus Games. I think it was the middle of last year. It might have been April, May last year. Went on to do a really good amount of money.
You went deep into it,
I didn't go that... No.
You got all these delicious extra tokens with it.
But that was because it funded so well that you got all the delicious extra tokens. I think they were...
Those metal coins are like... Oof.
The metal coins, I remember giving when it was the AGM at Dwarf... And saying to people, here's and it's like actually telling it to people and say, feel the weight of this, and it's like people are reaching over to one hand, and I was like, you won't be able to take it with one hand. And people were like, all right, and then hands were repeatedly crashing into the desk, and there were strained shoulders and everything all around. Designed by John Gilmore, friend of the show. Hi, John. And Brian Lewis, future friend of the show, who's going to be coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. To have a chat. There's a lot of stuff in the box. There was a lot of extra stuff in the box. First impressions of Dinosaur Island, to be honest, the first night that we played Dinosaur Meeples, pink,
that was my
beautiful,
first impressions.
snap bracelet you could snap on.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's got that as well. Yeah, it's got that as well. That's quite nice. Suits you, sir. There's two sides. This is a tale of two days of playing. Because the day that we played, I walked away from it going, I'm not sure, because I saw a lot of people thinking, this is fantastic. This is amazing.
I sat when we finished. When we ran out of time because we didn't get our game finished.
Yeah.
I went away going, I can see that'll be a good game.
Yes.
If we sit down and play it. But there was a few chappies at the table that it wasn't sinking in with.
There was a tapping out. There was almost, I think one of our party got close to tapping out of the game within about 15 minutes. Yeah. I think it just didn't
didn't resonate.
Just didn't gel. It's a complicated beast. It's very much, you know what it reminded me, when I was thinking back to it, do you know what it reminded me of? Forge War. because it was a multiple parts worker placement
to do this,
gaining resources in order to then go ahead and use it to kind of gain victory points and ultimately fulfill kind of miniature missions.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of got from that.
So we had a callback to show number 4.
That's a show number 4, and yeah, and a little waxy chat with Mr. Isaac Childress as well. Yeah. When I went and played it with the kids, I knew the rules and I knew how to play it.
Righty.
So we were able to relatively hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's the easiest game to...
I would say that rule book was a wee bit hard.
Yes. Let's touch on the rule book, okay?
Because we had a falling out when we were reading the rule book, and I was like, no, this is the way it should be played. And we were like, no, this is the way it should be played. And I was like, no, this is the way it should be played.
It was just like, okay. I didn't think the rule book entirely helped with explaining the rules.
Some of the things, yeah.
Some of the things, a lot of the things were very, very well done. A lot of things were very well laid out. One of the things that really leveled a layer of confusion, and you can say it's icky-picky, but when you were buying tiles for your resort, whether they be kind of when you were buying attractions, there wasn't kind of like a card which had an anatomy of a card or an anatomy of a tile. There seemed to be parts of the tile was explained in one part of the book, and the rest of the tile was explained kind of like the rest of the book.
Yeah. And
it was difficult to tie them together. So, for instance, there was like tiles which had like the cost associated with the game, a cost associated with it, how much money it was going to cost you, but they also had a victory point number next to it as well.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, we were wondering if it actually, because it was the overall winner was based on victory points, it wasn't clear whether or not those victory points were the cost of actually buying the item as well.
That's what you were saying, and I was like, no, that's silly.
Yeah, I know. It was just a bit, but then I went back and I watched the video again, and then I went back through the rule book, and I just went, okay, this must be the case. Yeah. It was just a funny lead. It was just a funny...
So how do we play the game? It's
worker placement.
It's worker placement again, but it's
resource management, and
it's broken up into 4 distinct phases.
There's 4 phases. The first phase is all about DNA. So the first phase is rolling some of these fantastic amber-coloured dice. And you've got different kind of either DNA on them, you've got advanced DNA, you've got basic DNA, you've got the ability to actually gain a worker, which is an unusual one. You've also got
it's broken. It's not like a standard worker placement game, because there's 2 different types of worker placement people. There's workers, which get used in later phases, and scientists, which get used in that first phase.
So your scientists will have a value next to them. So you'll have like 1, 2, or 3. And then based on where you put the scientist acts like a multiplier. So if I put a numbered scientist 2, jump back. You have dice. You roll the dice.
Yep.
The dice get laid on a track, and then you place your scientist next to this track.
Yeah.
The scientists act as a multiplier. So if I place a number 2 next to a basic DNA, I'll get 2 basic DNA. But you're also on that same phase
of the DNA, which is 6 different types.
Yes, there's 3 basic and there's 3 advanced.
Yeah.
I've also got the option to use my scientists to get a dinosaur recipe, and they got a number against a 1, 2, or 3. And surprisingly enough, I can only use a 3 next to a 3. I can use it next to a 2 and a 1. I can use the 2 next to a 2. I can use the 2 next to 1. I can only use the 1 next to the 1. So you've got a variance between a herbivore, almost like a big herbivore, or middle-sized potential carnivore, and then you've got the big hitters out there like your Tyrannosaurus Rexes and stuff like that of this world. Yep. What happens is when you buy one of those recipes, you're able to effectively put it onto your park as a dinosaur recipe, and it will sit in your park because you got a nice little park board that you'll just sit there, and you're able to add attractions and visitors and stuff like that. The other thing you can do is you can increase your cold storage, because you've got a limit on the amount of DNA that you're actually allowed to hold, and that'll allow you to increase it. Or furthermore, you can just ping a scientist and you can stick them in as a worker. Yep. Which becomes really, really important later in the game, as we discovered kind of going on. So you've got the first phase. The phase after that is a buying phase. This is when the money comes in. So you've got the option of buying extra rides, you've got the options of buying specialist people, you've got the options of buying additional, basically additional slots, technology essentially, and you place, and that ties into the worker placement phase of kind of
both the technology and the allies give you more abilities.
Various different effects, more abilities, or they increase the abilities that you have, or they allow you to do additional things, or they actually give you additional worker meeples as well, if they've got a worker meeple on there.
I know when we played, I had one that gave me, I could use one of my workers, and I could convert them into a scientist. Which was quite good.
Or you had a guy that was like security, and what he could do is he could basically force a hooligan to give him money. And that's kind of how that would work. So you've got the buy-in phase. Now basically there's a nice little track that goes like 1, 2, 3, 5, and the cards move up the track to become cheaper as the kind of time goes on. Or you've got the option, you can just go ahead and you could buy advanced DNA. You can just use it.
You can buy DNA, you can convert DNA in that phase, and other weird things.
And again, I mean, using the kind of, I guess, the Forge War comparison, this is kind of like, it's very similar. You are kind of, you're then...
That would be like the resource phase.
You're basically, you're kind of using resources in order to gain more resources. Phase 3 is then taking the resources that you have, taking the workers that you have, and putting them to good use by either... using your DNA to make dinosaurs, using your workers to increase security in the park, using your workers to allow you to increase the size of paddocks within the park so you can have more dinosaurs per attraction, or doing little things like giving you more money, because money becomes, as we discovered, is quite a crucial kind of, it becomes quite a crucial kind of resource as time goes on. Final phase is the visitors coming into the park. So, based on as you build dinosaurs, you increase the threat level. You also, however, increase the excitement level as well. And the more ooh, look at the Velociraptor on that.
So that's where I was getting confused with the tiles.
Yes,
because I thought when I bought this super duper roller coaster, that would increase my excitement levels.
No,
because it's super duper fancy roller coaster.
No, it wasn't.
But evidently no.
Evidently no. This is the thing, and this was one of the things that was quite difficult. I don't know if it was maybe not looking at the instructions correctly or not being able to find it, but basically sitting there going, when do these victory points kick in? Do they kick in at the end? Because it turns out that those are going towards your final score on further reflection. But I guess you're in the situation if you're learning a game for the first time.
Oh, exactly.
You're kind of what you don't want is people kind of sitting there, kind of being bored and being distracted and wishing they were playing, where they were playing something else instead. But you place your tiles, you build your dinosaurs, you increase your threat levels. And then you go into phase 4 where you get your visitors into your park. Your visitors coming in. All right, Daddy, can I see the Dilophosaurus? Thank you. Or Dilophosaurus? Diplodocus? Or is it Diplodocus?
Well, I'm old school, so it's Diplodocus. That's because I'm old.
Yeah, I was told that. My son says
oblong.
It's oblong. Diplodocus. Is it? Get out of here with your long neck and your long tail. But yeah, so on your visitors come in. It's a lovely kind of velveteen bag that you go in, and based on your kind of your excitement level, you draw out that number of meeples. You're either going to draw out 2 different types of colour. You're going to draw out your light yellows or you're going to draw out your purples. Your purples are your hooligans. Your purples push themselves to the front of the line. They don't pay, and they basically go and sit in the dinosaur paddocks, as they see fit. Based on the number of dinosaurs that you've got in a paddock, that decides the number of visitors that can actually sit there. Yeah. The hooligans don't give you any money. The visitors do, which is always good. And they also can potentially, they'll stay, if they stay there, they also give you the victory points as well. Mm-hmm. Now, this is when once you get into your threat level, oh, by the way, you see the other coloured ones? Mm-hmm. They're VIPs. Oh, and there's a card to say bring out the VIPs, but I couldn't see it necessarily in the rules, so we were playing, but there is a card. There is there's cards that you have, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But then you assess your threat, and based on your threat, you assess your threat, which is the number of dinosaurs you have. There's also an additional threat that you get, which is any of the unused DNA dice, these stunningly beautiful DNA dice. If they've got any threat pips on them, they also get added to your threat level. If you don't have enough security to cover your threat level, then people get eaten. And the hooligans, the hooligan. That wasn't a dinosaur getting eaten. That was a drunk man eating a kebab on a Friday night. Yeah. That was dreadful. I'll edit in a dinosaur sound. No, I won't. We don't do editing, except. But yeah, and it's and if you guys get eaten, then you lose victory points, and the guys that are left give you victory points, and but you get money off that as well. So as your thrill level increases, you're getting more money. Then you go back to the phase 1, but you've got to take into account any kind of plot twists that are in there, because you draw, at the beginning of the game, you draw 2 plot twist cards. Yep. And they basically tell you if there's anything else. It could be everybody gets an extra DNA. Yep. It could be you use the VIP meeples in this thing, and you get 2 victory points instead of 1 victory point.
And those cards are really where your replayability of the game comes in.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're change the game so much.
And you only ever use kind of 2 plot twist cards. On the other side of it, you've also got your general victory point cards, or your kind of like your achievements. Mm-hmm. You draw so many at the beginning of the game based on the number of players plus 1. And essentially, as you play through the game, it'll say it's the first person to have 7 dinosaurs in the paddock, the first person to have 3 attractions, the first person to have all 4 specialists, the first person to have all 7 workers. And you'll be able to you basically put like a company token down on that to say, I've achieved that.
You've done that.
Once you've covered, like, I think once there's only 1 left that hasn't been covered, then the game ends.
Oh, right, okay, that's what ends the game.
Yes. So it is based on advancement, it's based on achievement, so you kind of play it. It reminded me of Scythe. You know how in Scythe you were certain achievements that you had to reach to get a star in order to trigger the end of the game. So it reminded me of that. I guess the difference between this and Scythe is there's the cleverly enough, I think Brian and John, what they've done is they've introduced a short game, a medium game, and a long game. So you've got different flavours of those cards depending on the length of game that you have. So for instance, a short game might only need you to have 3 different species of dinosaurs in your attraction. It might only need you to have 2 attractions. It might only need you to have 5 workers. So it allows you to play kind of like a shorter game. Can I see the potential in the game? Was it good fun? Did me and the kids have good fun? Yes, we did. It's really funny because like I walked away on that Friday night. I don't know how you walked away, like feeling this is a good potential game, but there wasn't. When I set it side by side with The Godfather, and the speed in which we kind of picked up that game, which looking at the kind of how it could have played in the different levels of phases and the different actions and things like that you could take, and how quickly everybody seemed to kind of have an idea to pick it up. Dinosaur Island seemed to...
The difference between The Godfather, both me and you had played that before. So
Yeah,
that
but
meant there was two people that could sit down and go, these are the rules.
Yeah, but even the first time we played The Godfather, it was relatively quite quick for us to kind of pick it up. I don't know.
But then that was you, me, and Simon, and
I suppose
all three of us are picking up new games all the time.
Yeah, I suppose.
All three of us are fairly hardcore board gamers nowadays.
Yeah, I suppose.
So we're used to Simon, because he's playing with Dave all the time. Dave's,
Dave, Tabletop Dave, as he's known. Tabletop Scotland Dave, as he's known.
I mean, not Dave Con.
No, not Dave Con. I liked it. I felt like the rule book could do with a revision.
Possibly, yeah.
I think, yes.
It really needs, because I didn't watch a Let's Play of it. If you know what I mean. If I'd seen the Let's Play of it, I would know how to play it. But,
yes. The funny thing was, I had seen the Let's Play of it, and it didn't really explain.
It didn't sink in on that
particular
things.
But then the kids really, really enjoyed it. They had an awful lot of fun. It didn't kind of overstay its welcome.
Uh-huh.
We had a lot of fun. We did play the short game.
Righty.
Which was, I think it's worthwhile doing. I would start off with a short game and see how you get on.
Would you?
Yes.
See, these things, I normally start off with a medium game.
I would say just to learn, because you're not taking away you're not changing the rules or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of lowering the level for the achievements. A short game's fine to get everybody comfortable with the rules, and that means next time you can go and. I mean, it's like any game. I mean, once you got the hang of it, you're banging in stuff kind of left, right, and centre. I mean, phase 2 and 3, I think, can almost be done kind of simultaneously. Everybody can be playing at the same time.
It's one of those things, like it's the sort of game we're used to. It's like Lords of Sky.
Isle of Sky,
more complex version of that game.
If you can get a copy, get it if you fancy treating yourself, because in terms of presentation,
it's a good look.
garishly beautiful. Yeah. It's like.
Does the dinosaur meeples come with the base game, or
no? I think you just get Triceratops. I think you just get Triceratops meeples. Right. I don't think you get the various meeples, but then meeple schmeeple. I mean, it is like falling head first into a refreshers factory. Yeah. The garish colours. It's very kind of 1980s. It's not kind of it's not your duller kind of it's not Jurassic Park colours. Right. If I'm being honest, and it riffs so much off Jurassic Park. The fonts, the fonts, the coins, the representations, the artwork, everything like that is completely, So yes, I liked it. I guess I didn't love it straight away, but I think a couple of games down the line, I think it'll become a regular kind of game of choice. Once you get the people in to play it, I think once you get people that have all had a shot of it at least once or twice, getting through it will be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, and the other game I want to touch on, I played very quickly, and it's only because it was the first time I sat down with my 5-year-old and we played X-Wing.
Oh, X-Wing, okay.
And it's one of the most beautifully little scalable games. We've been playing King Domino.
Is that was it X-Wing or was it
X-Wing?
Because I know you've got Armada, don't you?
I've got Armada. Yeah. I gave him the decision to play with the really, really big spaceships or play with the really, really small spaceships. And so when he saw that he could play as the Millennium Falcon, he was he was all over that. He was all over it. He had a game. We played roll dices. Very simple. He could move. It was he loved it. It was kind of like a first step. I can bring in the focus stuff. I can bring in the proper hit points. I can bring in the proper movements and the skills. It's kind of a way, but I just thought I'd mention it because I ended up going X-Wing. I really need to play this again because I haven't played it in goodness knows how long. Yeah. I really need to bring it out and play again. So those are the ones that we got to the table. Getting them off the shelf. There's a couple that I would like to bring to the table. I'm going to start off by saying Giant Killer Robots Heavy Hitters, or GKR Heavy Hitters from Weta Workshop is huge looking. is smashy building fighty robots things, and I'd like to get it to the table to have a game. The other game I was thinking about, there's 3. The other game I was thinking about is
I've got one too.
Grimslingers arrived, and that is kind of like a card game.
Right.
And it's a 1v1, or it's a campaign game. It's kind of like a magical kind of cowboy type, last kind of frontier type game. I think this is the 3rd edition, and it's Stephen S. Gibson who's been on the show. Good old Stephen. He's a good lad. I was speaking to him actually last week just as a catch up. That'd be nice. Gloomhaven as well. I'm going to throw out the Gloomhaven bone and say one of us has got a copy of Gloomhaven.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Played the first mission twice.
Yeah, and we'd like to play it.
We would like to play. Okay, right.
Can we do 2-player?
Not really.
No.
It really wants 4.
Does it?
Yeah.
Let's draft in some people and get some 4.
Could do.
Let's do that.
Yep.
Let's get a regular once a month, maybe a game, and then we can play something else. What else is it you would like to bring to the table, Mr. Cowperser?
Lords of Helios.
Oh! Yes.
Which I don't own, but a good friend of ours does.
A mutual friend, the wonderful, fantastic Mr. Gordon. It was on Kickstarter.
It was on Kickstarter.
It was like robotic Greek mythology.
Yep. The backstory is aliens descend on Greek-aged Earth and went, here's a whole load of technology, Greeks, have fun.
And it looks stunning. And apparently you've said it's very, very easy to play.
I felt it was very easy to play. Two of the guys we were playing with took considerable time to understand how to play.
Ah, okay.
But
I shall take your
I would like to see you having a go at that.
I like that, so we're gonna look at that. I'd like to see it because it was one of the things that I went in and went, I think I'll back this. And then I went, actually, I hummed and hawed. I was the annoying person that must have dropped in and dropped out at the last minute. And then at the end of it, I just went, for whatever reason, I went, I'm just going to leave it. I think
I was the same with the one you mentioned first, the giant robot killer one.
Yeah.
I looked at that, went, nah.
No, I was like, I say, Gloomhaven. I think I was in Gloomhaven, and you said, I'm getting Gloomhaven, and I was like, all right, okay. I'll then bother. Which is pretty good if you consider, as per usual, I mean, the next section of the show is Give 'em a Kick, and I'm going to caveat this by saying it's a pretty decent list. I'm also going to caveat it by saying that pretty much most of them, if not all of them, have been guests on the show, so we're not going to go on big details on each of the games at all. What I'm going to say is, if I mention them, they've been on the show already. There's a chance that they might be on the show again in the near future. So we're just going to run through a couple of ones. As we say on Kickstarter, check them out, have a look over, buyer
beware, unfortunately.
Buyer beware for Kickstarter, as we say. We just caveat that. Keep an eye on the company, But certainly worthwhile, some of these are certainly worthwhile having a look at the very least. We've got Archon, Casey Hill, the Hill Gaming Company. He was on the show he was been in the show. 6 Days to Go. It's a card game. It's a card game. It's a kind of a very simple kind of deck collection game. 6 Days to Go. It's got a target of $5,000. It's sitting at 30,000, so it's doing quite well. Leviathan. Pascal Games, Greg and Jeffrey, who were both been on the show, they had Leviathan out last year and it failed to fund, but it's back again and it has a target of 4,000 and it's hit 6, so it's going to happen. It's a lovely Moby Dick inspired, very simple, very light micro card game. Imagine X-wing dial type movement, but it's the ship trying to hunt down the whale.
All right, okay.
So it's very, very interesting, very small. Colossal Games, Kami-sama, Now, yeah, the Colossal Games were on the show a little while ago to talk about Kami-sama and also talk about Western Legends as well. They'll be coming back on again to have a little chat about Kami-sama. It is currently got a target of 30k and it's hit 42,000, so it's doing quite well. Comic Turns by the fantastic Karen Rubens. She's still got 15 days to go. She was a guest quite recently. She's got a target of 4k. She's at 2.2. So it's kind of like, it's basically it's a card game with pictures with no dialogue on it. And you basically make up a story. It's kind of a mixture between like a kind of, it's kind of similar to some of the stuff that Bez does with Wibble Plus, what she does with Wibble Plus. It's kind of like, you can use the cards to kind of make up your own game, make up your own story. So it's almost like a kind of a game system as opposed to an actual game itself. Recent guest on the show, the fantastic Adam Rayberg from Adam's Apple Games, Sword Crafters. You're going to have to look at this one because you actually make a sword. You use cards, you get tiles, and you use it to build up an actual sword, and then you score the sword based on the tiles. It is currently, it's got a budget of 10k. It's sitting about 8k.
Yeah.
It's got 23 days left. I'm going to say it's potentially going to fund. We've also got Martin Poole's Robin Hood and Merry Men, Final Frontier Games. 24 days to go. It's become the Kickstarter explosion. It's budget.
Is it the one that's gone nuts?
Budget at 20k.
Yep.
Budget target 20k. Currently sitting $178,000. Will probably be at 190 by the time this is released. We've got the fantastic Donning the Purple Topic Games Peter Shanka Olsen, who was on the show last year. Donning the Purple, he's looking for 100,000 Norway krona.
That's $5 dues.
And he's raised 124,000, so he's funded. This is all about the Roman Empire, and it's just looking amazing. And it's had a lot.
Card games?
It's a board game placement strategy. It's been Peter talked about it on the previous show when he was on. We're going to try and get him back on over the next kind of couple of weeks to have a little bit of a chat. Lewis Shaw, Brain Crack Games, Dead and Breakfast, Tile Game, bit of a buzz about this. It's released about 2 days ago. Budget of 6k, hit 3k, probably going to fund. The only other thing we've got coming out, we've got Of Men in War. It's Price Johnson from Netherhaven Games. That's going to be out in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
So I thought it was time to do just a very quick list. People to say thank you to. And then we'll jump into some questions. These are just some certain people that have had, who've been very, very nice and kind to us. There's obviously, there's all the guys at Polyhedron Collider. There's Rory J. Summers, Jeremy Greer. There's Becky and Kelly Rolfe from Board Games in Bed, Katie Aidley, Ian McAllister from Giant Games, Nerd Therapy, Christy from Peace Love Board Games. There's the people from Quest for Magic and Steel, David Steele, Amara, and their family. There's Giles Pound, who's been fantastic. Leif Leafty, who will not leave me alone and keeps asking me when I'm going to be releasing another podcast. All the crazy cats from the Salt Report, especially my the wonderful, fantastic Jesse, Kay, Nikki, and Jake. The guys at Unlucky Frog Gaming who were on the show, so there's, just to put faces to names. The guys at Meta D podcast as well. Just anyone who has decided to take the time. The guys from Monster Dear Monster, the guys from Don't Give Up Skeleton, Lapse Gamer, Staying In, just all these people who at some point or another have decided to shout out, put their head above the parapet. We really, really appreciate every single person that has just given us support over the last 2 years and helped us get where we are. I've probably left somebody out, but you know, it will happen. It's probably Dan from staying in.
You left yourself out, man.
Oh, shut up. Questions. We did actually put a question out on Twitter. Well, I put a question out on Twitter just to say...
No, I'm on the Twitter all the time.
We're coming... You run the Twitter.
I'm the major tweet.
You're the major tweet. You're the major tweet. We've got a lot of people coming up on as well. Right. So Colin and Richard are recording their 2-year anniversary show. So what questions do you have for us? Do you know who answered? Nobody.
Oh no.
We're off the hook. Nah, we had Nick laying at 360. Has it really been 2 years?
No.
Yes. No, it's been 2 and a little
Twitter
bit.
says no.
Twitter definitely says no. In those 2 years, what game has been the most played by you together and separately?
Ooh.
Together?
Star
Realms, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Star Realms.
Yeah, we've played quite a few games of Star Realms on the app.
And I'd say Command and Colour Napoleonics.
You played that quite a lot.
I've played an awful lot of that with Leo.
I ventured into viticulture. Ashes is always something that has floated my boat on a regular basis. With a kid, I've got to say King Domino. With the kids, I mean, we've got to the point where that's what my wife plays. She'll actively
you finally
go.
Got her playing a game.
Yeah, I know.
It finally happened.
Special shout out to my wonderful wife, who actually does put up with me, kind of like not going to the pub or going out to the football, coming back in the wee hours, but saying, right, I'm just going upstairs for an hour or two, and that's it, you know. So big shout out to her for doing that. So that's the kind of thing. He also says, am I the best or the best? Nick, you are the best. Has Colin finished wizarding school yet?
No,
he
I'm
failed.
afraid not.
Failed on that exam, didn't you?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up such a sore subject. Why don't you give him a paper cut and pour some lemon juice over it, Nick?
Just imagine, we are wizards, but no.
No, we're not.
Little L plate.
Claire, Artie Clarice, friend of the show, and she's a Harry Potter fanatic. She says, being not wizards for 2 years now, would you like to finally become one? And if so, which one would you be and why?
Well, but we're not wizards.
But we're not wizards, Claire.
We're not.
We're not going to be wizards, Claire.
It depends.
If you had to be a wizard...
Is there a immensely rich one that doesn't have to do an awful lot of work? I'll be him.
Saruman. He lives in a nice tower. He's got all the orcs he wants on tap. I can't think of any wizards I'd actually want to be.
Doctor Strange, maybe?
I don't know. I'd probably want to be Sirius Black, because at least I know I get killed halfway through, so I don't have to put up with the rest of...
Spoilers!
I don't have to put up with the rest of Harry's nonsense, you know. That's why he smiles halfway through when he meets Harry, because you can see it in the future. He goes, that's good. We'll have to put up with you for another, I get to know you for 3 months, you whiny brat, and then I get killed. Yay! Go me! Ooh, 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 ooh. Ultimate Team Up. That is the Mr. Wonderful Gerald King. And he says, how has your working relationship evolved over the past 2 years? What are the things you had to learn from one another that you do now yourselves? I guess what we've learned over the last 2 years is what
Richard's learned is let me win. Or
yes.
I go in a huffy huff?
Yep, definitely that. I think we've learned to understand what each other kind of enjoys in a game when we're bringing a game in. I think we, understand the importance of a bit of preparation in terms of...
I've learned to sit closer to the mic.
You have, even though you're now 2 feet away at the moment. What are the things that you had to learn from her? Do you know what? I think it's one of the things is to kind of enjoy the games and not get too
Yeah.
political about them and stuff. You know what I mean? Not kind of,
God.
I know, just look at a game and enjoy it for what it is, and be able to look at stuff and just kind of, enjoy it as a hobby, not take it too seriously, and just kind of, have some fun with it. John Cage, if you could go back to the start and give your younger self some advice for the show, what 3 things would you do differently for the show?
Ooh.
Do you know what? John kind of sent this question through at the very, very kind of beginning when I first asked the question, and I sat there and thought, would I do something differently? I guess I would if I was starting again, I would have got a better mic.
That was a good mic. It just hates Windows 10.
It does. No, I mean for my own.
Oh, right. Yeah. For all the auxiliary stuff.
Yeah, I think I would have maybe taken... I don't think I would have done anything differently in terms of content.
I think I wouldn't have joined that role-playing game. So I would actually have some weeks to play.
Yeah, I think there is that. I think I'd probably get a better computer. I think I would probably not be as afraid to maybe approach people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And ask and actually get involved in the community more. I think it's always coming from the video game.
I think since the start that we've found out is just how welcoming
and
open the creator side of the community is. These are people you can actually go have a conversation with.
Oh yeah,
it's not like video games, where
I came from the video game space, and everybody has their guard up, and everybody is looking for that first kind of. They're almost looking for that splinter that they can jag you in the finger with. And it's a very, very toxic environment. So I must admit, I was walking from that space into a space online where, and it's the same Twitter and it's the same Facebook, and you're walking in, you're going like, oh my dear Lord, this is so nice.
I've spoken to this person. I've spoken to that person, and they're happy to speak to me.
And it's just that's very, a different world. Yeah. I mean, so I guess probably. Had I known the direction the podcast was going to take, as in, had I known there was going to be a lot of guests on it and stuff like that, would I have reached out sooner? I don't know. I kind of like the journey that we've come. I like where we are now. I like where we are now. I like what we've done. I like what we've accomplished, and I like what we've achieved. What's going to happen next? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to turn up at the door and say, go and stop it because you're having far too much fun.
Ooh.
But we shall see.
Well, we just say 20 episodes and that's
We did say 20 episodes, but to be fair, you've not been on 20 episodes yet, so we've still got a few left in the kitty, to be perfectly honest. We're going to round things up very, very, very shortly. We have nothing left to say or nothing left to ask. Just to, I guess, go through a couple of things of who's going to be coming on over the next couple of weeks that might whet your appetite. Mr. Jerry King is coming on the show. Katie's Game Corner is coming back on. We have the wonderful Brittany Bow, or Bebo, she's a fantastic content creator. She's going to be coming on the show. Mike Barnes, Who Dares Rolls, he's coming back on. Colossal Games are going to be coming back on to talk about Kami-sama. Ed Jowett from Shades of Vengeance, he's coming back on. We're going to have Cesar from Alley Cat Games is going to be coming on. They're running like 2 campaigns, one after another. Tristan Hall from Hall or Nothing Productions, he did Gloom of Kilforth, 1066 Tears for Many Mothers, he's coming back on. Ian McAllister from Giant Brain. We've got Brian Lewis, Dinosaur Island, he's coming on. We've also got Mountaintop Games are coming on. We've got so many different people. Oh, and we also might be doing a special with the Staying In Boys as well.
Excellent.
Which should be very, very good indeed.
At least we don't have to go out for that.
I know. We can stay in, Thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon. We have to mention that you
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. You're kind of keeping the fires burning, and you're allowing us to kind of look at doing things like
waste hours of your life,
getting better equipment and stuff like that. So we really appreciate all the people that new people that have joined us, like Steve, who's come on recently. So thank you for joining us. There's also been, and I'm going to say this now before I forget, because I don't want to forget, because these people make things wonderful. So big thanks to Paul for joining us as well, just out the blue. Just thank you very, very much. Thank you for everybody. And if you want to keep an eye on what we're doing, where can they go to find us, Colin?
I think they can find us on a Google search engine.
They can also go to
Twitter.
Yes. And where do they find us on Twitter?
We Are Not Wizards.
That's the one. Where do they find us on Facebook?
At We're Not Wizards.
We're Not Wizards. That's it. And where do they find us on Facebook?
At We're Not Wizards.
That's right. And where do they find us on YouTube?
We're Not Wizards.
Tabletop Podcast. Yeah, that's right. Where do they find us on Instagram?
We're Not Wizards.
Yep.
Oh, I'm getting good at this.
I know. Keep going. If they want to email us, where can they email us? It's
we'renotwizards.com or
.co.uk. You can find us on Stitcher and Acast and Spreaker, and you can find us on Podknife. As I say, you can find us on YouTube because our fantastic Podbean, who are our podcast hosts, automatically put all of our podcasts onto the YouTubes for us. So that's very, nice, very kind. Yeah. If you like us very, very much, then please consider going to Apple Podcasts and dropping us a subscription.
A review.
A subscription.
Is that what it's called?
A subscription. Ooh. But you can do a review as well.
Yeah.
You can. And as we say, if you are going to drop us a review, don't give us a
5 out of 5.
No, don't give us a 10, because that makes us
big-headed.
Yes, and don't give us a 1 because
I'll cry.
Colin will cry. If you give us a 1, Colin will cry. Do you want to make Colin cry? Do you?
Don't give them that option.
Don't give them that option. But give us a 5, because it's in the middle.
Yeah.
And we deserve a 5.
We're definitely mediocre.
We're definitely average. Why aim for the stars? Why even look at the stars? It's really comfy. No. It's really comfy on this couch.
You're bound for the mill, son.
Exactly.
Off you go.
Let's crack open that copy of Gloomhaven and play some games. But that's about it. Remember, I think the most important thing to remember out of all of this is for the last 2 years, it's been a lot of fun. But secondly, is that we are many things, but
we're not wizards.
We're definitely not wizards. Don't just stop. Do you know what Jeremy Greer's done? No, do you know if you go and search,
Jeremy.
If you put if Jeremy Greer, he does podcasts all the time.
Ooh.
But if you type into a browser, we are definitely wizards.com, it forwards on to our website.
Jeremy,
what
are you doing, man?
You're such a card.
That's harsh.
I know, but there's only one more thing to do. Goodbyes. So it's a goodbye from the wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing, my right-hand man, the man who made me into the cardboard type person that I am today. It's the fantastic Mr. Colin. Say goodbye, Mr. Colin.
Choose.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s. Thank you. Just thank you. You're all wonderful people for listening. We appreciate every single one of you. But until the next time,
2 months from now,
goodbye. It was a month.